I recently mentioned that I want to look at every province in Canada individually, do an exploration of each province and learn about the best places to go, but in the future I'm going to be looking at the history and culture of each province just to try and find out as much as I can about each. Last week I looked at the best places to visit in British Columbia. There were some absolutely wonderful, beautiful locations in British Columbia. To have so much in one province, it's amazing to me. And when I was thinking about the next province to look at, the one that I thought would be most appropriate for me, being Scottish, is Nova Scotia. So today we're going to be looking at this. It's called The Best Things to Do in Nova Scotia. Now, why Nova Scotia? I understand that Nova Scotia actually translates to New Scotland. And one thing I found interesting from the comments is people told me that outside of Scotland, Nova Scotia has the biggest Gaelic Scottish speaking population anywhere in the world, so there's a lot of connection to my home country of Scotland, so I can't wait to explore this connection more and just see what Nova Scotia is like. I don't really know too much about it, honestly, but that's what this channel's all about, for me to learn more, so let's find out. I mean, we can stop it already for the connection. The inverse saltire, the inverse Scottish flag with the lion rampant in the middle of it. Is this the Nova Scotia province flag or something like that? That is basically a Scotland flag. That's a Scottish symbol as well, man. I love this already. Beautiful.
We're here in Nova Scotia, the second province on our 150-day road trip across Canada, and we can't wait to start exploring.
I would love to do a road trip across Canada.
Nova Scotia is a great place to visit. It's fun, interesting, and you're gonna have a great time going around cities and small towns, visiting amazing museums where you're gonna learn.
I mean, there's more connection. Just to look at these initial images, the place looks so stunning.
Cities and small towns,
visiting
amazing museums where you're gonna learn so much and even have cool adventures in nature that you will never forget.
In just 10 days, we had so many incredible experiences in Nova Scotia and yet only scratched the surface of this great province. Halifax is a picturesque and vibrant city. We loved walking around the historical streets, the beautiful waterfront, and taking a tour at the Alexander Keith's Brewery, which is home to one of the best brewery tours in all of Canada.
Okay, Halifax I know from the Halifax explosion, but that's obviously a while ago. I'm really interested to know how it is at the moment. I've seen some brief images there. It looks like a very nice, very quaint, beautiful place. If you live there, how is life there? Is it the slow pace of life? Is it quick pace of life? The thing about Nova Scotia, obviously, if you compare it to somewhere like British Columbia or most of the other provinces, it's quite small. I think the population of Nova Scotia is about 1,900,000, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Halifax is obviously one of the main hubs of Nova Scotia. How is it to live there? I'm really interested to know more. And I mean, it has a brewery. I'm happy with that.
Then there's all the beautiful small towns that Nova Scotia is famous for. Peggy's Cove, Mahone Bay, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Lunenburg.
Sorry to keep stopping. Look at that, the colours, the architecture of each of these buildings. I mean, they've all got that similar roof style and similar colour, but got their own individual personality with these colours. I think I mentioned on the previous video, this sort of architecture and style really reminds me of Scandinavia. Although in Scotland we do have a small town called Tobermory, if you want to Google it, and you'll see similar colourful buildings like this.
We fell in love with the beautiful town of Lunenburg, and one of the coolest things we did there was take a tour aboard the Blue Nose 2, which is a replica of the famous Blue Nose, a Canadian icon that you'll not only find on our currency, but also in our passports.
Tell me more about the Blue Nose. I may have heard that in one of the previous videos, but give me a bit more context and information about that. I might have to make another video on that if it's important in Canada's history. I mean, it's important enough to be on a note.
Here we go.
No, it's not just a town vessel or a provincial vessel, it's a national icon. We live on the ship. You'll see we have a full-time cook on board. Washers and dryers, showers, it's home.
As someone who loves nature, Cape Breton Highlands National Park really stands out.
And then we have the natural beauty that's so prevalent around Canada. Look at that. Is that a road you can just drive across that? The colour of that water, the natural beauty. I mean, this landscape actually, I know that Nova Scotia is completely the other coast from British Columbia, so the landscapes are going to be slightly different. I definitely do get more British, Scottish vibes with these hills and this greenery and things like that.
Not only is it home to one of the most beautiful scenic drives in the world, but it's also a great place to go hiking and explore the outdoors. You'll find beautiful beaches, waterfalls, rugged coastline, and mind-blowing ocean vistas.
What was that place they walked down on top of that? What was this place? A beautiful viewpoint.
I think Breton Island is one of the most amazing places in the world. You really get a little bit of everything when you come here.
That is stunning. That looks like a mixture of like a tropical island and more that North American style, but look at that beach and the colour of that water. Canada really has natural beauty coast to coast. How lucky.
We have over 1 billion years of history in our geology here, and it's created a spectacular landscape.
Yeah,
we've got
stunning
mountains,
landscape.
hard rock, soft rock. We've got the steep cliffs plunging into the ocean. We have lots of waterfalls from the steep river canyons and extremely spectacular fault line. The Aspy Fault runs about 36 kilometers into the park.
Imagine going for a walk through there. Tell me, in Nova Scotia, have you been to these places? That's why I always like to know people's own experiences of being in places like this. For me, watching through a video, it just looks stunning, of course. And as I mentioned on that previous video, being in person must be such an amazing feeling.
One of the things I find so special about Nova Scotia is that even though there's lots of nature and lots of cool towns to explore, there's also a lot of interesting history. We learned a lot about all the different cultures that have come here over the years. For example, the Acadian French, the English, German, Scottish, the Mi'kmaq that were here before. It's just amazing how all these people came together to make this place what it is.
And that's, for me, that's one of Canada's great achievements, is bringing all these people together from different cultures like the French, the British and the First Nations people, and just creating wonderful, wonderful places. I don't think there's any other country like that, man. It's such a fantastic thing.
Exploring Halifax, we learned so much about the history of the city and Nova Scotia. We went to the Halifax Citadel, where I felt that I was going back in time, as I saw people wearing uniforms from back in the day. I got to see a cannon getting fired for the very first time. It was quite loud, but it was like so amazing. And I had the chance to shoot my very first rifle, which was from 1871, something that I will never forget.
That looks great. I mean, we see the kilts there. We actually have something similar with the cannon firing in Edinburgh Castle. I think that happens daily as well. I never knew that was something that happened here. I've never seen the Citadel before. But to see the people so resplendent in their kilts, that actually makes me very proud. And you see this stag on his belt. I have this Scottish stag up here as well.
Then we went to the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, where I got to see real artifacts and read true stories of people from the Titanic. I also learned about the different ships. I saw maritime objects as well, and even got the chance to also send my name in Morse code. That was so cool and interesting.
There you go.
A place that you shouldn't miss visiting is the Canadian Museum of Immigration, a place where I felt so attached and emotional as I identify myself with the stories and feelings of many immigrants through Canada's history. But I also learned about the great impact that immigration has on what Canada is today, making me realize on how lucky I am in living in such a great nation and inspiring country, where people from different backgrounds, race, religion, learn to live together to create a better place to live.
That's fantastic to hear, man. That is, again, that's one of the things that interests me about Canada, is the multicultural aspect. But you see that it doesn't actually, it's not just about the modern day multicultural aspect. It's something that's been going on for such a long time and has so much relevance and such importance in Canada. And you see how much it means to people there. tell me if you're from an immigrant background, how do you find living there and what does it mean to you to be Canadian and have your own heritage as well?
I think a key ingredient in what makes Canada special is immigration and the relationships that immigrants build when they come to Canada from all parts of the world with the people already living here, be it the First Nations or previous waves of immigrants who have come to Canada. And those accommodations and those arrangements that people make to build a new life in Canada has been really critical to our last 150 years.
Last but not least, we took a rafting trip on the Shubenacadie River, which is the only place in the world where you can raft a tidal bore and experience some of the highest tides in the entire world.
Well, Nova Scotia is the only place in the world that you can go tidal bore rafting, so it's obviously unique to our area. It's a unique and phenomenal activity in Canada and attracts visitors from all over the world. The tides can go up to 55 feet in amplitude on a daily basis.
What an incredible thrill to be able to experience the power of the waves, to see our entire boat filled with water, to even jump off and swim into the waves and then go mudsliding. It's definitely an experience that I can't wait to try again.
I mean, that just looks so fun, something so unique. Tell me if you've ever did that, man. It looks quite scary in a way, but like a once in a lifetime opportunity, the only place in the world you can do that, man. Tell me if you're from Halifax, is that something you actually do? Something I've never actually seen before, actually.
What an incredible 10 days we had in Nova Scotia. Whether it was driving one of the world's most scenic roads in Cape Breton Highlands National Park, or visiting the beautiful little coastal communities of Lunenburg and Mahone Bay, or just diving into the history of Halifax. I had a great time in Nova Scotia and I'm so excited to come back and explore this place more.
Like the landscapes, man. I mean, all over Canada, there's plentiful, beautiful landscapes are plentiful, but you can actually see the individual differences between the provinces. That's why I wanted to do these videos about the separate provinces, to see the unique things about each. And I thought it would be more like culture-wise and people and like different things that like make that unique, but based on the people. But to actually see the landscapes are so varied across the country, it makes sense because Canada's so huge. But the thing they all have in common is just they're so breathtaking. I said that about British Columbia, but same applies here too.
If you like this video, make sure to check out our video on Newfoundland, where we stood on ice in the North Atlantic, walked on the Earth's mantle, and explored the oldest city in North America. To learn more about this adventure and the best of Canada from coast to coast to coast, visit mustdocanada.com.
That was just absolutely fantastic to learn more about a province in Canada that has such a huge connection with my home country, Scotland, and to just see how beautiful it is. I mean, I can always talk about the landscapes being beautiful, but those small towns, so uniquely Canadian and have their own like unique personality, and the little things you can do around Nova Scotia that are unique to Nova Scotia just sound great. It actually makes me want to go here also. Like, how would I ever plan a trip to, how can I plan a trip to Canada when like so much of the country is just somewhere I would want to visit and explore? I guess because this has this special connection with Scotland, that is another thing that would draw me towards there. But I want to know how it is to actually live in Nova Scotia. What's life like there? What took you to Nova Scotia? If you're from outside Nova Scotia, have you ever been there? And what's your thoughts and opinions of Nova Scotia as somebody not from there? Just interested to know more, as always, from your own experiences. And yeah, tell me what you think about this one. Thanks.